Now we have 5 lights and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix, and a pretty decent start for Giovinazzi. It's been poor getaway for Verstappen, and now as we go into turn 3 there's been an engine failure up ahead. I think it's a Ferrari. Yes it is. It is the championship leader.
We've lost one of the gears. The transmission is significantly damaged. We're down a gear.
He's surely going to make a move down the inside of Verstappen into turn 2. It looks as if he does. Also trying to make a dive down the inside of Ocon. What a double overtake. And there you can see braking very late into the final corner. But what a result for Antonio Giovinazzi. P6, very much deserved. What is up guys, and welcome to episode number 5 of my F1 2017 Road to Ferrari career mode with Antonio Giovinazzi. We're here today for the Spanish Grand Prix, and unfortunately this series hasn't really been getting too many views, likes, whatever, but we're going to plow on. And if you guys could share it over social media, like this video, all of that good stuff if you're enjoying it, that would be very much appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into the action today. And we're starting off with not a great thing. Obviously, we lost third gear in Russia, so we had to replace the gearbox. And as a direct result of that, we started some development on the gearbox wear, which should decrease it by a significant amount. So next time out in Monaco, we should have 2 upgrades on the Haas car: the front wing main plane, which we developed last time out in Russia, and of course the gearbox wear. So getting straight into practice, Antonio had a pretty decent session. You'll see there the team objectives. The only one he didn't meet was the informed strategy, because, you know, not wanting to waste any tyres around Spain, of course. It is quite a tyre-dependent circuit. Although we did manage to pass the tyre management perfectly. It was just the fuel saving, which once again this Haas car doesn't seem to be too great at. But Antonio and the team were pretty happy with that. And yeah, that was a decent amount of resource points. So seeing as we were incurring the gearbox penalty, the Haas guys decided it was time to go on to that 5th power unit. If we do need it later on in the season, then it's there in the bag. And yeah, shouldn't be incurring any more penalties, hopefully, apart from possibly another gearbox for the rest of the season. So getting into qualifying, it was more of just a practice session for Giovinazzi. It was confirmed that he was going to be starting at the back of the grid with 35 places, I believe, worth of grid penalties. So yeah, getting now into the one and only qualifying lap that Giovinazzi did. You know, trying to save as many tyres as possible for Sunday. He came across the line for P15. So not too bad. It was far from a perfect lap. And like I say, just more treating it as a practice session. So getting wheeled back into the garage now at the end of the session. And yeah, the Haas guys were pretty impressed with Antonio's run. And, you know, this season he's proven that the first run is, you know, he can very much improve on that. And he ended up in P16. So going through the grid then for Sunday's race, it was Hamilton and Raikkonen on the front row with Vettel and Ricciardo in behind. Verstappen, the 2016 winner, alongside Bottas. And yeah, my teammate, Giovinazzi's teammate, Grosjean getting into P10. And you'll be able to see well down the grid is Antonio with all of those penalties. So we'll be starting behind the 2 Saubers and of course the 2 McLarens, so we'll be looking to dispatch of those 2 pretty quickly. And as we get onto race day, just like qualifying, it is dry and the sun is beating down here in Barcelona for what promises to be quite an exciting race for the Haas drivers. So there you can see the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. So Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton leading the way at the moment. And there you can see going onto the formation lap. And once again, it was an out-qualification, if that is a word, for Roman Grosjean. So he leads that teammate battle 3-2. And of course, he's outraced Giovinazzi in 3 of the 4 rounds so far. But we are, of course, back in Europe. And hopefully Giovinazzi's form can improve. There's 2 types of tyre strategy that he could choose to go with today. He's starting on the medium tyres, so he either could go for a very risky 1-stopper or a 2-stopper going onto the 2 soft tyres. So I think that is what the team have recommended that he does, is the 2-stopper. Of course, being a lot quicker towards the back end of the race. But here we go then to the 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. And away we go. Giovinazzi, not a great start. He's more just looking to try and get out of trouble. But the 2 McLarens have had an awful getaway. So he's got past both of those already. Verline also going very slowly. But going into turn 1, it looks as if Giovinazzi is going to try and go around the outside of the young German. But it doesn't look as if that is the case. So Lewis Hamilton has streaked off into an early lead. But Giovinazzi holds it round the the outside of Pascal Wehrlein into turn 3. And now as we go into turn 4, very, very cautious from the Italian. So it's Daniel Kvyat and Jolyon Palmer going at it in this early stage of the race. So yeah, just trying to settle into a rhythm. Very, very good start though, making up the 4 positions, of course, on the 2 Saubers and 2 McLarens. So yeah, shouldn't be too bad on pace from now on, because of course all the cars ahead of Giovinazzi are of a relatively similar pace even. So the Toro Rosso, I believe, has got some upgrades this weekend, and Daniel Kvyat there you can see trying to get away from Giovinazzi, who of course is on the medium tyres, but he makes a dive down the inside, a slight lock-up on the left front, but he's guts up now into P15. And that is 5 positions that have been made up on this opening lap. So now going all the way on to lap 6. It was, you know, quite a boring start, to be honest. Or, I don't know, maybe not boring, but there was quite a rhythm to the race. But there you can see Jolyon Palmer and Lance Stroll going at it through turn 2 from this wonderful camera angle. Palmer's on the inside, but he has to bail as he gets out of the throttle. And now Giovinazzi fancies a look down the inside of the Brit. Is he going to do so now? Going down the inside, they are side by side as they go through turn 5 and turn 6, and Giovinazzi's going to be on the outside into turn 7, and indeed he does have to settle into P15. So Daniel Kvyat there up behind. Giovinazzi had managed to pull a little bit of a gap, but that little squabble that he had with Palmer has compromised his time a little bit. So if he is to get into the points this afternoon, it's looking very difficult. Because if you look ahead of Palmer and Lance Stroll, there is quite a gap up to P12. But nonetheless, he will be looking to score some points this afternoon with a decent strategy. And, of course, getting these medium tyres out the way early on in the race. So he's pretty much caught up with fuel already, and we're only on lap 8. So, yeah, the Spain track, not too bad on fuel consumption. Of course, there are a lot of places to be able to save fuel, especially that final sector. But now, as we get towards lap 8, there are a lot of cars in the pit lane. Of course, Giovinazzi won't be pitting for quite a while yet. If he is to do a 1 or you know, even a 2-stopper. So, yeah, a lot of these cars, of course, on the soft tyres, and that promotes Giovinazzi all the way up into P6. So Jolyon Palmer actually goes quite a way into this race on lap 9. So, yeah, he peels off into the pit lane, and Giovinazzi now, I believe, is going to go up into P4 because Max Verstappen just comes out of the pits. And Esteban Ocon is the only other car not to pit, I believe, up ahead of Giovinazzi. But lap 10, there is Valtteri Bottas, and I don't think Giovinazzi's going to want to fight the Finn too hard unless he is going to be compromising in time. And there you can see Bottas going very, very slowly through turn 12. Very much characteristic of the AI on this game. But, yeah, Giovinazzi has to let him go, really. And the only beneficial part of being just behind Bottas is that he will get DRS as we start lap 11 now. But he's also got Max Verstappen behind him. You saw, of course, the Dutchman emerge behind Giovinazzi in that first pit phase. Is he going to be able to make a move into turn 1? I don't think he is, but later on onto lap 11, surely the Dutchman is going to fly down the inside. Sure enough, he does. Giovinazzi doesn't make it too difficult for Verstappen, and there you can see the Dutchman gets ahead and then just brakes into turn 11, which was a little bit strange. But nonetheless, Giovinazzi will take the DRS, and hopefully that hasn't compromised him too much. And now on to lap 12. Surely he's got to be thinking of coming into the pits soon. Probably another lap yet, but he gets a little bit out of shape there. And that sort of puts him into the pit lane. So that sort of made his mind up, to be honest. That little tank slapper that he got on pretty much meant that he had to commit to the pit lane. So not ideal. He's going to have to go 11 laps on one of the soft tyre stints, when of course you saw a lot of the AI only doing 8 or 9 laps on it. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. Of course the one stopper is pretty much out of the question, although I do believe Esteban Ocon has gone for that strategy, so it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. Giovinazzi emerges in P17 just behind Daniel Kvyat, so yeah, he has been a little bit compromised there. But of course, Kvyat had the newer tyres for that stage, and Giovinazzi does not have to run the medium tyres for the rest of the race now. So we're on lap 14, and Giovinazzi is behind Kvyat and also Pascal Wehrlein, who I'm not sure whether he has pitted in this race. No, he is on the medium tyres, so I believe he was on those at the start. So he is holding up Daniel Kvyat, and Giovinazzi is going to have to get past these two if he is to be within any chance of scoring any points this afternoon. Of course, it's been a very good start for the Italian, scoring points in each of his first 4 races, but it is going to get very, very difficult from now on. So trying to get a good exit out of the final corner, and he's going to get onto the DRS now. Kvyat is going to be trying to get the slipstream on Wehrlein. Of course, Wehrlein running the 2016 Ferrari engine, and Kvyat with the Renault power unit. So Giovinazzi surely going to have the pace on the two of them. He gets ahead of Wehrlein, but Kvyat just about outbreaks him, and now as the two of them go through the long sweeping turn 3, it looks as if the Russian is just about going to be come out on top. So shifting now down into 4th gear into turn 4, once again just like in Russia, Giovinazzi's trying to stay out of the wake of the Toro Rosso, but surely it won't be too long before he is able to pull a move. On to lap 15, and you can see there are some yellow flags up ahead, and that is Sebastian Vettel. So he has been getting into the wars. I believe his teammate is up towards the front. But yeah, he's obviously come out from the pit lane in a little bit of traffic, and it's a Williams there on his inside. So he tries to go round the outside and then just completely bins it. So we're going to take a ride on board now with Felipe Massa. So that is who it was in the Williams, just to see whether there was any contact between the two of them. Nope, there wasn't. Vettel has just gone straight in front, and yeah, pretty much just binned it in the gravel. So not a great afternoon for the German whatsoever. But Giovinazzi will say thank you very much, I'll take that position. And now he's doing exactly the same on Daniel Kvyat. Not quite as easy as it was to get past Vettel, but still the Italian up into P13 now. So we're looking a lot better this afternoon. And now behind Jolyon Palmer with, that is Lance Stroll in the pit lane. So I assume he'll be fitting the medium tyres and trying to go to the end on those. But anyway, on to another position. I couldn't quite see who was in the pit lane that time, but nonetheless, Giovinazzi gets up into P11, and now going for a points-paying position. It might not be points by the end of the race, but still, he's going to try and pull a move now on Jolyon Palmer into turn 1. He gets past him, and Esteban Ocon, who I mentioned is on the one-stopper, locks up, and it's another move for Giovinazzi. He pulled a double overtake in Russia with one of the drivers being Ocon, and he has done exactly the same once again. So up into P9, which will probably, will probably fall down the order when he comes into the pit lane. But for now, he is into P6 after some more drivers are into the pit lane. So he manages to do 11 laps on that soft tyre stint, and there you can see the front left tyre just creeping onto 50% tyre wear. So not too bad in all honesty. But yeah, coming in now for the final 10 lap stint, it will be. So once again, it's going to be a set of the soft tyres, and there you can see Esteban Ocon has got back ahead of him. So it's going to be quite a long way to get ahead of the Force India driver, who of course doesn't have to stop again. And there you can see he's currently out of the points in P11. There's a couple more cars just about to come out of the pit lane. Is Giovinazzi, and is Lance Stroll just about going to get ahead of him? He's on the hard tyres, so that shouldn't be too difficult to get past the Canadian and up into P11. But of course, there's 10 laps to go, and there is quite a gap from Stroll up to P10, so he's going to have to dispatch of him pretty soon. Is he going to make a move now into turn 4? No, he isn't. Possibly waiting for the DRS, I'm not sure, but of course Lance Stroll does have that Mercedes engine underneath him. Going for the switchback move now as Giovinazzi locks up the left front, but that's a beautiful move down the inside. Like I say, the switchback move, and that is very, very nice, and up into P11. So on to lap 26, and here you can see Sebastian Vettel is now up behind Giovinazzi. So he's sort of regrouped, come into the pit lane, and obviously he has a lot more pace than Giovinazzi, but if he is wanting to impress those Ferrari bosses, he's possibly going to have to try and keep the German behind him, and he tries to hold it round the outside into turn 1, and that is a lovely defensive move from Giovinazzi. Going through turn 3, that Ferrari will have a lot more downforce, but it keeps him behind for the meantime. On to lap 29, of course, Giovinazzi's not going to want to make any contact with Vettel if he does want to make friends at Ferrari, so Vettel just sort of sweeps down the inside, and that was a pretty routine move in the end. But, you know, Giovinazzi just showing that he can keep Vettel behind if he wants to. But, yeah, you can see that Carlos Sainz has actually come quite a lot closer at this stage. So we're trying to play the wily old fox move, and there you can see there's been contact between Vettel and Sainz. So in the end, it does come to fruition, and Giovinazzi manages to get ahead of Sainz. And yeah, we're going to take a look at the replay now just to see what did happen between the two of them. So it's just a lockup from Sainz. There was no contact, and he just bins it into the gravel, and that is 2 positions lost in the space of 1 corner. And yeah, Giovinazzi was quite a long way behind Sainz, but does manage to get ahead of him into P11. But unfortunately, that was all he could do. Romain Grosjean there was passed by Vettel on the final lap, but he takes the final points position. Giovinazzi coming across the line for his first non-points finish of the season. But considering he started at the back of the grid in P20, that wasn't too bad at all. So finishing there in P11. But the winner of the race was Kimi Räikkönen there for the Scuderia. And, well, once again, showing how OP he is in F1 2017. So there he is, stood on the top step of the podium with the 2 Mercedes, of course, making up the other 2 podium positions, seeing as Sebastian Vettel obviously got into the wars this afternoon. But there you can see, spraying the champagne, and it was a pretty exciting Spanish Grand Prix, it has to be said. Obviously, it's a track that's not too well renowned for its overtaking. But yeah, a lot of strategy came into play in this race, and it's really, really good to see that, you know, these tyres actually last a lot longer, because in the past, Spain wasn't really too much of an enjoyable track to race with. But yeah, in this game, really does feel good. But there you can see the final race results. So Ricciardo and Verstappen in P4 and 5 for Red Bull, after what's been pretty difficult couple of races for them. And Esteban Ocon there in P7, obviously I mentioned on the 1-stop. And yeah, Grosjean and Giovinazzi following each other home in P10 and P11. But once again, it's just Grosjean getting the upper hand, which is, yeah, pretty disappointing, it has to be said. So now getting on to the Drivers' Championship, Giovinazzi falls 1 position to P11 behind Esteban Ocon, and yeah, Romain Grosjean stays in P9 and makes up one more point. And yeah, he is on 19 points now. So Haas staying in P5. It's going to be difficult to fend off Williams for the rest of the season. But yeah, you can see a big gap down to Renault in P7. So that concludes today's Grand Prix. I am really happy that I've actually done 5 episodes of Career Mode, which, like I said, is the most I've ever done on a game. But there you can see the head-to-head. So Grosjean, another race where he's finished ahead of Giovinazzi, and of course 19 points to 12 now. But it's all lining up for a good second quarter of the season. Yeah, we're a quarter of the way through the season now. I'm going to try and pump out these career mode videos in the next few weeks. If you have enjoyed this one, do make sure to leave a like if you've lasted this long. And I'll catch you guys next time for an exciting Monaco Grand Prix. But until then, I'll catch you then. Bye-bye.